And he made the breastplate of cunning work, like the work of the ephod, of gold, blue, purple, scarlet, and fine twined linen. It was fourscore that they made the breastplate double. A span was the length thereof, and a span the breadth thereof, being double. And they set it in 4 rows of stones. The first row was a sardius, a topaz, and a carbuncle. This was the first row. And the second row, an emerald, a sapphire, and a diamond. In the third row, a ligure, a agate, and an amethyst. In the fourth row, a beryl, an onyx, and a jasper. They were enclosed in ouches of gold in their enclosings. And the stones were according to the names of the children of Israel, 12 according to their names, like the engravings of a signet, every one with his name, according to the 12 tribes. And they made upon the breastplate chains at the ends of wreathing to work of pure gold. And they made 2 ouches of gold and put 2 rings and 2 rings in the 2 ends of the breastplate. And they put 2 wreathen chains of the gold in the 2 rings in the ends of the breastplate. In the 2 ends of the wreathen chains they fastened the 2 ouches and put them on the shoulder pieces of the ephod before it. And they made 2 rings of gold and put them on the 2 ends of the breastplate among the border of it, which was on the inside of the ephod inward. And they made 2 other golden rings and put them on the 2 sides of the ephod underneath toward the forepart of it, over against the other coupling thereof, above the curious girdle of the ephod. And they did bind the breastplate by his rings unto the rings of the ephod with the lace of blue, that it might be above the curious girdle of the ephod, that the breastplate might not be loose from the ephod, as the Lord commanded Moses. And he made the robe of the ephod of woven work of blue. And there was a hole in the midst of the robe, as the hole of a habergeon, with the band round about the hole, that it should not rend. And they made upon the hems of the robe pomegranates of blue, purple, and scarlet, and twined linen. And they made bells of pure gold, and put the bells between the pomegranates upon the hem of the robe, round about between the pomegranates. A bell and a pomegranate, round about the hem of the robe to minister in, as the Lord commanded Moses. And they made coats of fine linen of woven work for Aaron and his sons, and a mitre of fine linen, and goodly bonnets of fine linen, and linen breeches of fine twined linen, and a girdle of fine twined linen, and blue, purple, and scarlet needlework, as the Lord commanded Moses. They also made the plate of the holy crown of pure gold, and wrote upon it a writing like to the engravings of a signet, Holiness to the Lord. And they tied it to a lace of blue, to fasten it on high among the mitre, as the Lord commanded Moses. Thus was all the work of the tabernacle of the tent of this congregation finished. And the children of Israel did to all the Lord commanded Moses, so did they. And they brought the tabernacle unto Moses, the tent, and all his furniture, his taches, his boards, his bars, his pillars, and his sockets. And the covering of rams, skins, dyed skin, covering of badger skins, the veil of the covering. The ark of the testimony and the staves thereof, and the mercy seat. The table and all the vessels thereof, and the showbread. The pure candlestick with the lamps thereof, even with the lamps to be set in order, and all the vessels thereof, and the oil for light, and the golden altar, and the anointing oil, and the sweet incense, and the hangings for the tabernacle door, the brazen altar, and his grate of brass, his staves, and all his vessels, the laver, and his foot, the hangings of the court, his pillars, and his sockets, and the hanging for the court gate, his cords, his pins, all the vessels of the service of the tabernacle, for the tent of the congregation. The clothes of service to do service in the holy place, and the holy garments for Aaron the priest and his sons' garments, to minister in the priest's office, according to all that the Lord commanded Moses, so that the children of Israel made all work. And Moses did look upon all the work, and behold, they had done it as the Lord had commanded. Even so they had done it, and Moses blessed them. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, On the first day of the first month shalt thou set up the tabernacle of the tent of the congregation, and thou shalt put therein the ark of the testimony, and cover the ark with the veil. And thou shalt bring in the table, and set in orders the things that are to be set in order upon it. And thou shalt bring in the candlestick, and light the lamps thereof. And thou shalt set the altar of gold for the incense before the ark of the testimony, and put the hanging of the door to the tabernacle. And thou shalt set the altar of the burnt offering before the door of the tabernacle of the tent of the congregation. And thou shalt set the laver between the tent of the congregation and the altar, and shall put water therein. And thou shalt set up the court round about, and hang up the hanging at the court gate. And thou shalt take the anointing oil and anoint the tabernacle and all that is therein, and shall hallow it. And all the vessels thereof it shall be holy. And thou shalt anoint the altar of the burnt offering and all his vessels, and sanctify the altar. And it shall be an altar most holy. And thou shalt anoint the laver and his foot, and sanctify it. And thou shalt bring Aaron and his sons unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and wash them with water. And thou shalt put upon Aaron the holy garments, and anoint him, and sanctify him, that he may minister unto me the priest's office. And thou shalt bring unto his sons, and clothe them with coats. And thou shalt anoint them, and thou didst anoint their father, as thou didst anoint their father, that they may minister unto me in the priest's office, for their anointing shall be surely an everlasting priesthood throughout their generations. Thus did Moses according to all that the Lord commanded him, so did he. He came to pass in the first month of the second year, on the first day of the month, that the tabernacle was reared up. And Moses reared up the tabernacle, and fastened his sockets, and set up the boards thereof, and put the bars thereof, and reared up the pillars. And he spread abroad the tent over the tabernacle, and put the covering of the tent above upon it, as the Lord commanded Moses. And he took and put the testimony into the ark, and set the stays on the ark, and put the mercy seat above the ark. And he brought the ark into the tabernacle, and set up the veil of the covering, and covered the ark of the testimony, as the Lord commanded Moses. And he put the table in the tent of the congregation among the side of the tabernacle, northward, without the veil. And he set the bread in order upon it before the Lord, as the Lord had commanded Moses. And he put the candlestick in the tent of the congregation against the table, on the side of the tabernacle southward. And he lighted the lamps before the Lord, as the Lord commanded Moses. And he put the golden altar in the tent of the congregation before the veil. And he burnt sweet incense thereon, as the Lord commanded Moses. And he set up the hanging at the door of the temple, the tabernacle. And he put an altar of burnt offering by the door of the tabernacle of the tent of the congregation, offered upon the burnt offering and the meat of offering, as the Lord commanded. And he set the laver between the tent and the congregation and the altar, to put water there to wash withal. And Moses and Aaron his son washed their feet there at. When they went into the tent of their congregation, and when they came near the altar, they washed, as the Lord commanded Moses. He reared up the court round about the tabernacle and the altar, and set up the hanging of the court gate. So Moses finished the work. Then a cloud covered the tent of the congregation, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. And Moses was not able to enter into the tent of the congregation because of the cloud thereon, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. And when the cloud was taken up from over the tabernacle, the children of Israel went onward in all their journeys. But if the cloud were not taken up, they journeyed not to the day that it was taken up. For the cloud of the Lord was upon the tabernacle by day, and fire was on it by night, in the sight of all the house of Israel throughout all their journeys. And the Lord called unto Moses, and spake unto him out of the tabernacle of the congregation, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, If any man of you bring an offering unto the Lord, you shall bring of your offering of the cattle, even of the herd and of the flock. If his offering be burnt sacrifice of the herd, let him offer it male without blemish. He shall offer it of his own voluntary will at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation before the Lord. And he shall put his hand upon the head of the burnt offering. It shall be accepted for him to make atonement for him. And he shall kill the bullock before the Lord, and the priest, Aaron's son, shall bring the blood and sprinkle the blood round about the altar is by the door of the tabernacle in the congregation. He shall flay the burnt offering and cut it into pieces. And the sons of Aaron, the priest, shall put fire upon the altar and lay the wood in order upon the fire. And the priest, Aaron's son, shall lay the parts, the head, the fat, in order upon the wood that is on the fire, which is upon the altar. But his inwards and his legs he shall wash in water. And the priest shall burn all on the altar to be a burnt sacrifice, an offering made by fire of sweet savor unto the Lord. And if his offering be of the flocks, namely of the sheep or of the goats, for a burnt sacrifice, he shall bring it a male without blemish. And he shall kill it on the side of the altar northward before the Lord. And the priest, Aaron's son, sprinkle his blood round about the altar. And he shall cut it into his pieces, with his head and his fat. And the priest shall lay them in order on the wood that is on the fire which is upon the altar. But he shall wash the inwards and the legs with the water, and the priest shall bring it all and burn it upon the altar. It is a burnt sacrifice, an offering made of fire, of a sweet savor unto the Lord. And if the burnt sacrifice of his offering to the Lord be of fowls, then he shall bring his offering of turtle doves or of young pigeons. And the priest shall bring it unto the altar, and wring off his head, and burn it on the altar. And the blood thereof shall be wrung out at the side of the altar. And he shall pluck away his crop with his feathers, and cast it besides the altar on the east part, by the place of the ashes. And he shall cleave it with the wings thereof, but shall not divide it asunder. And the priest shall burn it upon the altar, upon the wood that is upon the fire. It is a burnt sacrifice, an offering made by fire of sweet savor unto the Lord. And when any will offer a meat offering unto the Lord, his offering shall be of fine flour, and he shall pour oil on it, and put frankincense thereon. And he shall bring it to Aaron's sons the priests, and he shall take thereout his handful of the flour thereof, and of the oil thereof, and with all the frankincense thereof. And the priest shall burn the memorial of it upon the altar, to be an offering made by fire of a sweet savor unto the Lord. And the remnant of the meat offering shall be Aaron's and his sons. It is a thing most holy of the offerings of the Lord made by fire. And if thou bring the oblation of meat offering baking in the oven, it shall be unleavened cakes of fine flour mingled with oil, or unleavened wafers anointed with oil. And if thy oblation be a meat offering baked in a pan, it shall be a fine flour unleavened mingled with oil. Thou shalt part it in pieces, and pour oil thereon. It is a meat offering. And if thy oblation be a meat offering baking in the frying pan, it shall be made of fine flour with oil. And thou shalt bring the meat offering that is made of these things unto the Lord, when it is presented unto the priest. He shall bring it unto the altar. And the priest shall take from the meat their offering a memorial thereof, and shall burn it upon the altar. It is an offering made by fire, a sweet savor unto the Lord. And that which is left of the meat offering shall Aaron's and be his sons. It is a thing most holy of the offering of the Lord made by fire. No meat offering which ye shall bring unto the Lord shall be made with leaven, but ye shall burn no leaven, nor any honey in any offering of the Lord made by fire. As for the oblation of the first fruits, you shall offer them unto the Lord, but they shall not be burnt on the altar as is for a sweet savor. And every oblation of thy meat offering shalt thou season with salt. Neither shalt thou suffer the salt of the covenant of thy God to be lacking from the meat offering. With all thine offerings thou shalt offer salt. And if thou offer a meat offering unto thy first fruits unto the Lord, thou shalt offer for the meat offering of thy first fruits green ears of corn dried by the fire, even corn beaten out of full ears. And thou shalt put oil upon it, and lay frankincense thereon. It is a meat offering. And the priest shall burn the memorial of it, part of the beaten corn thereof, and part of the oil thereof, with all the frankincense thereof. It is an offering made by fire unto the Lord. And this oblation be a sacrifice and a peace offering. If he offer it of the herd, whether it be male or female, he shall offer it without blemish before the Lord. And she shall lay his hand upon the head of his offering, and kill it at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And Aaron's sons, the priests, shall sprinkle the blood upon the altar round about. And he shall offer the sacrifice of the peace offering, an offering made by fire unto the Lord, a fat that covers the inwards, and all the fat that is upon the inwards. And the two kidneys, and the fat that is on them, which is by the flanks, and the caul above the livers with the kidneys, it shall take away. And Aaron's son shall burn it on the altar upon the burnt sacrifice, which is upon the wood that is on the fire. It is an offering made by fire of a sweet savor unto the Lord.